accepted, and people knew about it.
Guaranteed, mean they pay you X amount of money to come down and participate in the tournament.
Yeah, and then you play for the prize money as well. And so Vilas came safe that they got to the finals. Well, Tiriac, who was his manager at the time, took the money in cash. Well, they decided they're going to screw Vilas, you know, over the fact that Tiriac's one of the lowest forms of, I don't even want to get into that he screwed Vilas. You know, I remember him, Vilas is like a son to me. I'll never be able to in tennis again. A week later, he's with Becker, you know. Like,
I remember that.
So it was like,
yeah, right. What happened to your son?
One of the phoniest people of all time. Someone who would say that he's 100% sincere, who all he cared about was, like, you know, making money. That's wrong. What's wrong with tennis? The ATP thinks because the prize money's up that tennis is in good shape. Well, it's embarrassing how much the prize money is. It's embarrassing how much money these guys are making compared to the level of interest in the game. They should be donating, just like the women should give 10% of their prize check to Billie Jean King for what she did for them. We should be donating 10% to some charities, whatever. I'll start that right now. I'll be the first one to sign up. For every year I continue playing, I'll go do it back from last year or 10 years. I don't care, and do something. But no one does anything. We're talking about an extremely selfish group of individuals, and it's sad.
Women's tennis, better, more interesting today than men's tennis.
Well, I wouldn't say it's better. I mean, it's far from better.
I know. It's not women versus men. The game itself is more interesting. They got more interesting players. They got more interesting competitions. You know, most people know more women's tennis players than men.
I give them a lot of credit. They've done a very good job. They've had the young and the old.
Yeah.
Venus Williams, her sister, Celis coming back, Graf, Davenport, Hingis. It's no question about it. So it's like the guys better take a big, long look in the mirror and say, wait a second, we got to do something.
What are they doing that we're not doing?
Exactly, because I mean, come on. I mean, let's get out of the let's get work. Let's get to work here, because this can be done. I mean, one other factor that helped them was the rackets that are used now have helped the women a great deal. Yeah. It's given them more. When it looked like they're in slow motion and hitting balls, you know, moon balls. Now there's some, you know, they got some reasonable pace on the ball, so it helped them. Whereas it took us to a level where, you know, when Ivan Izovic played Sampras in the '96 Wimbledon final, there was a total of like 9 minutes of tennis. I mean, there's like 5 shots.
If you were playing today with the rackets, back when you were playing, if you had today's rackets, would you be significantly better or not? Or because of your hand control, it wouldn't have made any difference?
Well, I think that I would have, it's hard to say, but I think had I started as a kid using these type of rackets, I would have been able to deal with the power a lot. The power presented a problem for me because you didn't see that level of power. Yeah. And so by the time I was in my late 20s, when this really started coming into effect, the mid-'80s is when, I remember playing Kevin Kern in like the quarters of Wimbledon when I'd been in the finals 5 years in a row, and just blowing me off the court basically with the serve.
Right.
And then Becker came along. And then all of a sudden, there was just like this different game. Lendl, you know, brought a higher level of power. Then bigger players, and now it's an epidemic at this point. But you do see that the most well-rounded player, who is Pete Sampras, has had a tremendous career.
If there was one stroke that somebody else had that you would like to have had to add to your repertoire, would it be Connor's return of serve? Would it be Laver's forehand? What would it be?
Probably be one of the big inside-out forehands that the clay courters have.
Yeah.
If I had that ability to just sort of mix it up a little bit more with some of the baseliners, that's the only thing.
The only thing.
The only thing that I would have liked a little bit more power on the forehand side.
When you think about matches, if you've got to find one match, everybody would assume for you it's Wimbledon 80 and 81, probably 81 when you won.
Actually 80, I would say, because I felt like my stature
I
had more stature, but, even by losing. And that match, people bring up to me 20 times more than any other match. So I think I can give a good lesson to my kids by talking about that match as one of my proudest moments.
What do they say to you about your tennis?
Used to be good a long time ago.
Do they really?
Excuse me.
Do any of them have tennis ability?
What time is this on tonight?
11 o'clock.
Not really.
All right, take a look at this. We haven't talked about 3 other things that are important in your life. One is art. What's this art gallery all about?
Well, I'm a big collector and fan of it. So about 5 years ago, I bought a place in Soho, excuse me, as a place to house bigger art. And so the idea came to have a gallery, but I haven't made a lot of inroads, I got to be honest.
In other words, you haven't, you haven't done what? You haven't found any
I haven't found any young artists, like
Right.
coaching a tennis player. I haven't found any young artists that I'd like to represent. I haven't been able to get like a lot of traffic to come in, a lot of sales. But I'm a collector at heart, so I'm not particularly concerned with that. But and also when I've been spending more and more time away, I have a lot of children, so it's difficult to find the time. There's a lot of sharks out there in the art business.
What do you collect?
20th century, more American art, because I feel like I have a chance to get some world-class art at that level. But the Monets or the Picassos, that's out of my league, you know, price-wise. So I certainly enjoy that, and I'm able to go to museums and enjoy that, but I can't afford it.
Music. You play the guitar. You've got a group called what?
Johnny Smythe, which is actually, Patti Smythe is my wife. She was in Scandal in the 80s, and she's a solo artist. So the idea was to try to get her to be in the band. Well, that, you know, she said hell would freeze over before that happened.
Here's what she said. It's about as interesting as me playing mixed doubles with him at Wimbledon.
I said, am I that bad? You know, because she had played like 3 or 4 times. And I said, God, I could sit up there. She's not a big guitar fan.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, I can play rhythm guitar. That's no big deal.
Or have you gotten good? Are you any good with the guitar?
No.
No.
No. I mean,
so why do you keep doing it?
I haven't been doing it, Charlie, as much because, quite honestly, it's tremendously frustrating. You know, with the time that I have to spend on the other things, it's become like back to a hobby. You know, at one point I actually envisioned that perhaps I could do something more than a hobby. That maybe
you would evolve from tennis to rock music.
Well, just that there would be something legitimate, perhaps. But you know, I also have a lot of respect. It's made me, number one, respect my tennis more. But it's also made me respect the musicians a lot more. The difficulty of, for example, trying to, you know, I try to do the toughest thing. I try to sing and play at the same time and write original songs. Well, I knew I was going to be horrible for a couple of years. I was happy if I was still breathing at the end of the song. If I remembered the lyrics to a song, you know, I wasn't worried about like making every other part. And so the priorities got to the point where I actually said, hey, maybe we're decent. And I also wanted to be in a band because, quite honestly, I miss the camaraderie of a Davis Cup, playing doubles. Right. We don't have that in tennis. So I figured, hey, you know, this is a chance to do something as a group. Well, everyone sort of looked to me. It was like John McEnroe band at one point. I changed it to Johnny Smythe, just a name after my wife.
What'd she think of that?
Well, when she heard me play, not too much. But the idea was good.
All right, take a look at this. This is one of your other new endeavors. Roll tape.
Ah, Wimbledon, the granddaddy of them all. I'll never forget that epic tiebreaker I played in 82.
80.
When I won that first set 6-love.
6-1.
And then I took the second set.
You lost that
That's
set.
it!
Every time I try to do something like this, these people mess things up. You sit down, big guy.
It's all here. You lost the third set. You lost the match. I don't know what you were thinking.
Is this thing portable?
Yeah, why? That's okay, John. You keep it.
That may be my favorite commercial.
All right.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here.
Charlie, thanks for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
My pleasure. John McEnroe for the hour. Thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow night. Frank Gehry will be here, among others. See you then.